Earth is orbiting in astral planes, wherein vibrations are impacting your society at a quickening pace. As linear time is crunching up, everything in your world is being pushed more swiftly toward remedy, resolution, or final moment, and third-density karmic experiences are moving faster toward completion. This acceleration is causing the Illuminati to take irrationally desperate measures to cling to the remnants of control in New York City and Washington, D.C. Often fingers have pointed at the United States for self-serving interference in other countries' affairs, and with justification. All significant federal actions from day one have been the work of individuals in the Illuminati's Rockefeller faction within that nation's government and military forces, all without the knowledge of the citizenry, who mistakenly thought their voices and votes counted. Let us tell you what evolved civilizations have long observed about your world. People ruled by other corrupt governments knew they were captives of their political systems. However, only recently and only some United States citizens are realizing that they've been duped into believing they lived in the land of the free, and what they've been told generation after generation. We must fight our enemies who want to destroy our freedoms and democratic way of life. Thus, as your world reels from aerial strikes on Doctors Without Borders Hospital in Kunduz, Afghanistan, a tragedy stemming from Illuminati madness, the blame falls on the United States via the wrongful assumption that the country's commander-in-chief authorized the unconscionable attack. The fact is, behind the scenes President Obama and others in positions of influence, primarily individuals in the U.S. and in China, Israelis who know Netanyahu's dark intentions to foment World War III, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, and Pope Francis, have been collaborating to uproot all of the far-reaching tentacles of the Illuminati's Rockefeller and Rothschild factions. That attack on the hospital, explosions at a peace rally in Ankara, Turkey, clashes between Israelis and Palestinians, the situation in Syria, and shootings in the United States have caused some to view deadly violence and other prevalent conditions globally as unsolvable problems. Dear ones, none of the issues of your concern, which also include effects of climate change, lack of clean water, deforestation, near extinction of some animals, diminishing bee population, widespread surveillance, unjust legal and justice systems, enforced vaccinations, massive impoverishment and rampant pollution, as well as war mentality, bigotry, greed, and ignorance of truths, is unsolvable. Everything happening in your world is due to Earth's ascension into increasingly lighter energy planes wherein negatively based activity is more quickly and emphatically running out its energetic course. However, in some circles this is deemed evidence that end times are at hand. We know this isn't your belief, but we think you will enjoy knowing what God told my mother about that concept several years ago. Those souls who are intent upon having an Armageddon, so they shall. But for you who aren't intent upon having that sort of future, you won't. You can stay within the light and rise into higher and higher dimensions of closeness, understanding, awareness. There are no strict rules that are so complex or rigorous that you and anyone else aren't capable of adhering to them. All that is required is to live within the light. Or in simplest terms, be kind. And, with thanks to the light, the same energy as love and the most powerful force in the cosmos, your world is overflowing with kindness and godly works as more and more people are seeing the light. Joyously greet this unfolding of consciousness connecting with soul-level knowledge. This, not bodies rising into the skies, is personal ascension, the shedding of all of third density's negative characteristics and harmful behavior to self and others. As for other aforementioned issues of concern, first we say, do not be fearful about anything. We cannot say too often that the energy of fear refuels those with dark tendencies and the universal law of attraction is in constant operation. Now then, to address those issues. Harsh effects of climate change will ease as Earth gets closer to attaining her once moderate climate worldwide. If necessary, residents of sea-level island areas will be relocated in plenty of time to avert danger. Ongoing assistance of your universal family includes neutralizing or ameliorating harmful effects of toxic elements in vaccines and all sources of pollution. And, added to your own technologies that are emerging from Illuminati suppression, your family will introduce advanced technologies that can remedy environmental damage so quickly that you will be astounded. Bees will return and eventually wildlife will rebound to sustainable numbers except for the few species in Arctic climes that will not adapt to those areas' rising temperatures. Peaceful, trustworthy behavior in your society will end the need for surveillance. All unfair or injurious national laws, justice systems, regulations, and cultural traditions will end incrementally. And, as your world's resources are fairly allocated, poverty will be eliminated. It is Gaia's desire and intention that her planetary body be restored to its original health and beauty, and Earth's humankind flourish in abundance and live in harmony with each other and all of nature. And so it shall be. Planetary ascension, the world transformation process that you went to Earth to assist in, is assured. Personal ascension is a choice that each person makes, and part of attaining spiritual and conscious enlightenment is knowing the soul you are. Most heartily we have welcomed all of your relevant questions and now shall answer those for which there was no space in previous messages. How do I go within to ask a question, and how will I know if the answer is from soul level or my conscious thought? In solitude and comfort, visualize yourself in the midst of golden white light, think or say aloud what you want to know, then quiet your mind and simply be. You may want to see if meditative music is relaxing or a distraction, and it could be helpful to ask first a question that can be answered yes or no. The answer may come immediately or take a few moments, and when it does, it may be a word, phrase or sentence, which may be audible or appear as a printed sign or move in ticker tape fashion, or one or more mental images, or a sensation that clearly indicates yes or no. If what you see, hear, or strongly sense is similar to what you had been thinking, or hoping for, prior to going within, it doesn't mean that the answer is your own thought. It could be confirmation that your conscious thought and soul knowledge expressed as intuition are closely connected. And, please don't be disheartened if nothing happens at first try, or even a few times. Like every other worthwhile endeavor, practice leads to improvement. Was it the person Jesus or his soul who knew how to walk on water and turn a few fish and bread loaves into enough food for the multitudes, or were those stories made up to substantiate the claim that he is the only Son of God? Jesus and his soul were one and the same being, just as every other soul self is. He knew that everyone has the innate capacity to manifest whatever the person desires and can visualize. That's why his teachings included that whatever he could do, everyone else could, too. He did walk slightly above water on an occasion when there was a need to do so, and one time there was a need to turn a small amount of food into enough for a hungry crowd. I noted both in my journal. A conversation with my mother soon after we started communicating in 1994, when I was still living in Nirvana, answers a number of queries about the soul's origin and its relationship with the cumulative soul, and I've asked her to copy those parts. The soul is the very essence of life as it first sprang from Creator. It is an indestructible living entity of light energy that may have a physical body, etheric body, or astral body, or it may exist in free spirit only. Our souls, manifested by God through His co-creating powers with Creator, are expressions of the love and light of God and contain in microcosm every essence of God. In any of its forms, the soul is an inviolate independent being. At the same time it exists inseparably with God and Creator and all other souls. The soul is the power behind everything that exists on earth. It is the life force of all its parts that it creates for ever greater experiencing. At every level of evolvement, each soul part is an independent self with intelligence, characteristics, choices, goals, and all the other life elements that make each person a unique being. Each individual lifetime of a soul is its personage. The sum of a soul's personages is the cumulative soul, and all knowledge gained by each personage is available to all. Thus, as each one melds into the cumulative soul, bringing the wisdom of that lifetime's experiences, every individual personage evolves just as the cumulative soul does. I believe the simplest explanation of the cumulative soul is this: it is the composite of all its parts, starting with the very first division of itself into an independent lifetime for diversity and experiencing. Where do cumulative souls reside? There is no specific place of residence, because a cumulative soul is not an individual entity, but rather the indivisible sum of all its personages wherever they are living, and it grows as each one adds its lifetime experiences to the ever-changing composite. Actually, a better description of a cumulative soul than I first gave you is that it is a force field that derives its entire essence from all its aspects wherever they are throughout the universe. Do you personally know the other personages in your cumulative soul, or do you only have access to their knowledge? I know those who are in this realm, and some of us have become friends. Some are spending a lifetime on Earth, and I know very well who they are. Some have moved so far toward the light that our energy densities are incompatible, so a meeting isn't possible, and others have regressed far from the light into lower densities, and I'm surely not interested in going there. Some have chosen lifetimes out of this galaxy, where I don't travel often, so I'm barely acquainted with them. Each has its own soul growth to accomplish, Mother. Wherever the other personages are experiencing for their individual growth, we're always within the familial bonding of our cumulative soul. But it isn't necessary that we meet or share lifetime interests or know all the details of each other's lives. What we do share is the essential knowledge of our collective awareness, otherwise all the individual soul's learning would be wasted. The cumulative soul can advance from its station toward the light only by the advancement of its personages. Therefore, each one not only has the benefit of the cumulative soul's composite knowledge, but it is continuously given encouragement at soul level to master its chosen lessons so the cumulative soul can evolve. However, that is not self-serving. With that soul's advancement, all of its personages also have the opportunity to evolve. But, depending upon the free will choices of each, the personage can either grow toward the light, or regress so far as to become trapped in base energy. If a personage becomes trapped, how does that affect its cumulative soul's energy? The lifetime energy registration that consigns a personage to the base energy placement does not affect its cumulative soul, because that personage's unique energy stream made its own way entirely by its free will choices. The cumulative soul may encourage its personages, but it can't ever interfere with their free will. However, out of love for all its personages, the cumulative soul may request divine grace to assist any that become trapped in base energy. Are the individual souls always aware of everything their cumulative soul knows? Let me compare this with your memory, Mother. Nothing you have learned or experienced is ever lost in your memory system, but you can't remember everything at the same time. It would be overwhelming. Furthermore, many of your experiences were so trivial that they were irrelevant to subsequent happenings and never returned to your conscious mind, yet all are in your memory bank. It's the same with the personages of the cumulative soul as they experience their respective lifetimes. That makes sense. Matthew, with all these parts of your cumulative soul, I just want to be absolutely sure that you are only my Matthew and nobody else. Oh, Mother, absolutely I am Matthew and no one else. Every personage is its own soul and no one else. The cumulative soul is the synthesis of all its independently functioning soul selves. But it sounds as if every soul that divides itself becomes a cumulative soul, so you could do the same and become one, too. Mother, I realize that in my eagerness to answer your questions, sometimes my efforts result in confusion rather than clarification. The terms I've given you for the various aspects of soul expression, cumulative soul, personages, soul fragments or sparks and such, are meant only to show the soul's long journey striving through multiple lifetimes to return to its beginning in the perfect love and light of Creator. In this realm we don't need differentiation of terms, as the soul's energy registration in the universe is evidence of its evolutionary station. Since each soul is its own inviolate self regardless of its station or the number of its progeny, we think of each simply as soul. and that is how we speak of each one to you unless we are trying to explain the soul growth stages through its independently functioning aspects, or the inextricable and eternal connection of each soul with God and all other souls in the universe. Thank you, Mother, and yes, I see that once again must leave remaining questions about the soul for the next message. We hope that our answers thus far have been convincing. You are limitlessly powerful, unconditionally loved divine beings in the eternal oneness of all. Love and peace.